Okay, so before we move on to the next agenda, we're going to have a quick 5 minutes break before we proceed. So I would kindly ask everybody, if you want to stay, please do so. Feel free, and by all means, stay in our beautiful Indonesia pavilion before we going to commence with the next agenda, and that will be financing mechanism for FOLU NetSink 2030, investing for the future. Our next session will start in 2 minutes. Pak, tunggu lagi, Pak. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We will commence the next agenda. And it is financing mechanism for FOLU NetSink 2030, investing for the future. I kindly request the participants to please clear the stage as we're going to continue with the next agenda. All right. Okay, please kindly have a seat. Thank you. Okay. The Indonesian government has conveyed a long-term vision to develop a climate-resilient, low-carbon development scenario, and FOLU has a big role to achieve the national net zero emission target, especially to offset emissions from the energy sector. However, the financial requirements to accomplish FOLU NetSink 2030 target are enormous. So, to address the critical question on how to leverage and sustainably finance the FOLU NetSink strategy, a high-level discussion is highly required. And for that, I would like to kindly invite our moderator for the session, Ms. Nur Masri Patin. Silakan, Ibu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the session on financing mechanism for FOLU NetSink 2030, investing for the future. This session is meant to share information and also lesson learned, the progress what Indonesia is doing related to our commitment to the global effort in fighting against climate change. We have panelists here And also the session will begin with a keynote speech that will be delivered by Mr. Astera Primanto Bhakti, the Director General of Treaty, Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia. I would like to invite Mr. Astera to join with me here. Please, monggo. The first panelist will be the Director General of Climate Change. However, as the Director General is busy with other agenda, the Director General will be represented by Dr. Wahyu Majaka, the Director of Resource Mobilization, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. I would like to invite Pak Wahyu to join with me here. The second panelist is Dr. Ruanda Sukardiman, the Senior Policy Analyst of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. The third panelist, Bapak Joko Triharyanto, the Executive Director of Indonesia Environment Fund. The fourth finalist is Mr. Andreas Dahl Jorgensen, the Director of NICFI. Please, Andreas, join with us. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have now all panelists, and also we are lucky that the Director General of Treasury of the Ministry of Finance is here with us, who will give the keynote speech for this session. I would like to invite Pak Astera to give your speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Excellencies, the resource person. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the talk show session of financing mechanism for FOLU NetSink 2030, investing for the future. It is good to see all of the participants here gather, and also I would like to warmly welcome our speaker who have generously agreed to share their expertise with us. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, in this current situation, climate and environmental issues are not only counted as threat, but it's really affecting many sectors in our life. More essential, these climate and environmental issues have affected the economic development and also the future of social life. For instance, the hot weather, the rise of sea level, and the rise of pollution level that just happened in Indonesia. Amid economic downturn in 2023 and the potential for not achieving the target of 1.5 Celsius, limiting the rate of global warming between 2030-2035, Indonesian Minister of Finance in coalition of Finance Minister for Climate Action meeting 15 April 2023 said that in facing these two challenges, climate and development are like two sides of a coin. Separating the two will only limit resources and hamper effort to achieve the Paris Agreement target. Therefore, roles and responsibilities of Ministry of Finance is very crucial to overcoming climate change risks through policies and decisions in establishing economic landscape. The appropriate finance policy will have significant implication in responding to climate change, including how to allocate resources, invest in innovation, and prepare for the risks associated with climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, aligned with the urge to reach the NZE in FOLU sector by 2030, there is this financial requirement in order to accomplish that target. The government of Indonesia has estimated of total of 239 trillion rupiah is needed for the effective implementation of FOLU NetSink 2030. This necessitates comprehensive financing strategies not solely reliant on public funds, but also encompassing private investment. And it is important to integrate all of the environmental fund to keep the sustainability of the environmental action and commitment. To encourage this, the government of Indonesia has established the Indonesia Environment Fund, or IEF, which aim to bring together environmental funding mechanism for channeling and distributing environmental and climate fund to support Indonesia's vision to protect its natural environment and prevent environmental pollution and degradation. For the FOLU sector, IEF currently manages various funding such as Green Climate Fund, RED plus RBP, with amount is $100.8 million. And IAF is also mandated to manage FCPF Carbon Fund for USD 110 million and the Biocarbon Fund for $50 million. And also fund from the Royal of Norway Cooperation with the total amount of $56 million. Ladies and gentlemen, to address the critical question of how to leverage and sustainability finance the FOLU NetSink strategy, today we will hear an insightful dialogue regarding the financing challenges and opportunity to support the implementation of FOLU NetSink 2030. Hopefully, with this dialogue, we can draw your attention of our effort and bring valuable partnership and collaboration to share how to integrate environment fund to reach a sustainable environment by managing environment fund through expanding and strengthening collaboration. Thank you. Billahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Astera, the Director General of the Treasury of the Ministry of Finance of Indonesia, for delivering the speech. The following is, we will listening the response from our panelists to the question that we prepare for this session. First question will be directed to Pak Wahyu Marjaka from the National Focal Point Office, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Pak Wahyu, Indonesia commitment to the Paris Agreement temperature goal has been reflected in enhanced NDC as well as long-term strategy for low carbon and climate resilience 2050 with net zero emission by 2060. Could you please share with us what are strategies and actions that the government of Indonesia is taking to achieve the enhanced NDC target and also progressing towards LTS, LCCR, and NCE. And also how the National Focal Point Office engaging other related ministries and stakeholders in our effort to achieve our target. So, Pak Wahyu,
Thank you
you
very
have
much.
5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Nur Masipatin. Yes, actually, this is a very important point that raised by moderator. And Indonesia actually submitted the enhanced NDC to the UNFCCC Secretariat by 23rd September 2020. And document of LTS-LCCR 2050 in 2021. The NDC enhanced document is a transition to a second NDC in line with the long-term strategy and low carbon and resilient 2050, with the vision to achieve net zero emission by 2060 or sooner. So the enhanced NDC shows Indonesia's increasing commitment through increasing GHG reduction target, improving program strategies and action in emission element, mitigation, adaptation, transparency framework, and implementation support. In the LTS LCCR 2050 document, Indonesia foresees to reach the peaking of national GHG emission in 2030 with the NetSink in the forestry and other land use, and with further exploration opportunity to rapidly progress toward net zero emission in 2060 or sooner. Government of Indonesia has made considerably effort to achieve the target under the Paris Agreement. A number of innovative policies and measures are in place to support transformation in food and land use system to reduce greenhouse gas emission and pollutant, reduce vulnerability and increase adaptive capacity to climate change, conserve biodiversity, promote health diets, strengthen rural livelihood, sustainable use of freshwater resources, as well as to halt the loss of ecosystem services. In a sector energy, policies and programs on renewable energy has encouraged various development of renewable power plant, production and use of biofuel. For the past 5 years, CPO-based biofuel development has been considerably progressed due to biofuel policy, including price subsidy using budget collected from the biofuel feedstock producer. In FOLU sector, Indonesia emphasized the initiative to make the FOLU NetSink in 2030 that is built on correction to policies and step in the forestry sector for no less than 7 years. Corrective measures to improve forest management were developed and implemented through strengthened policies, more organized program, and improved work progresses, including monitoring and verification system for output, outcome, and impact of the measures. Thank you very much, Nur.
Thank you very much, Pak Wahyu, for sharing with us about the strategies and action to achieve the target and to progress to the long-term strategy, including corrective action to the past policies. The second question will be directed to Pak Ruanda. As mentioned by Pak Wahyu, that as part of our long-term strategy on low carbon and climate resilience, Indonesia has put a very ambitious target in a FOLU sector to achieve the FOLU NetSink by 2030. The question to Pak Ruanda would be, similar to the question to Pak Wahyu, but this is specific to forestry and land use. What are the strategies and action that Ministry of Environment and Forestry taking to ensure successful implementation of the FOLU NetSink strategy in Indonesia? And also, what are the challenges and opportunity for us in balancing environmental conservation and economic development in the sector? Pak
Yes.
Ruanda, you have 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Masri Patin. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. This is very challenging question, of course. I will explain what's already highlighted by DG and my colleague, Pak Wahyu, about the FOLU sector, forest and other land use sector. FOLU sector has a big role in effort to achieve the national net zero emission target, especially to offset emission from sector that are difficult to abate, such as the energy sector. Significant effort to reduce FOLU sector emission and convert them to NetSink by 2030 in scenario with the LCCP that already explained by Pak Wahyu will largely depend on this sector. So this important FOLU sector is very highly appreciated. So what is the specific action that already Indonesia put on the table? So we have already the objective and preparing Indonesia's FOLU NetSink 2030 in the form of the operational plan. In this plan, we include the strengthening policies and work implementation to achieve Indonesia FOLU NetSink with systematic and measurable steps. And second, establish an operational plan for reducing greenhouse gas emission in forestry and land sector toward Indonesia NetSink, especially in the subnational level. So from the national, we go down to earth in the subnational level. And the third, elaborating the NDC target into detailed action plan, how to reduce the emission in the forestry sector. And also we are framing the main supporting activities for implementation and program activities to reduce greenhouse gas emission in forestry toward FOLU NetSink, as well as the stage of work and operation and evaluation. So the evaluation and monitoring is very important step also in the FOLU activity. And the last but not least, about the how we can prepare the manual operation. So all of the activity in the mitigation action, we completed with the manual operation. So every single activities in the field, we have a specific manual operation. And about the second question, how we have a challenge and opportunity to maintaining environment conservation with the economic development. Yes, with the FOLU NetSink, we emphasize to be need to follow very central and controlled land allocation for development in order to improve fair and equitability welfare for the people of Indonesia. So we balancing the need of the development and also environmental sector. So with the achieve to that one, Indonesia FOLU NetSink use the three working modalities. First, we enhance with the sustainable forest management. We also enhance with the environmental governance and carbon governance. For that activity, we sure and Indonesia will achieve to reduce the emission to level minus 140 million ton CO2 equivalent, or next since by 2030. And this also in line with the low carbon and climate resilient 2050. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you, Pak Ruanda. Colleague, ladies and gentlemen, we have listening from Pak Wahyu about the strategies and action for the overall sectors under our NDC and also long-term strategy. And then from Pak Ruanda, focusing specifically on FOLU sector. The next, we will be listening from Indonesia Environment Fund that was also mentioned by the Director General Astera in his speech. When we talk about we have ambition, we have commitment, then where the means of implementation come from. Now we will be listening specifically about the funding. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia Environment Fund has played a very important role in managing and mobilizing climate finance to support Indonesia climate commitment. Now I would like to invite the Executive Director of IEF to respond to the question here. Given the substantial financial requirement for the FOLU NetSink 2030 target, how is the Ministry of Finance through Indonesia Environment Fund mobilize the finance, and also for Ministry of Finance allocate public funds to support the implementation of our commitment? And then the second is, are there any innovative financing mechanism and strategy of the Environment Fund institution in exploring all possible opportunity, including attracting of private investment in order to secure the finance need to achieve our ambitious target in FOLU sector. With that, I would like to invite Pak Joko. 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Nur. I think we all agree, ambition without money, nothing. Pak Rwanda and Pak Wahyu already mentioned that the government of Indonesia increased our commitment from 29 to become 31 from the domestic money, from the domestic financial support, as well as increase from 41 to become 43. So we call it enhanced NDC. And this is quite serious for us. Why? Because we cannot rely on only from the government budget. According to result from climate budget taking annually, we can measure that the financial capacity from the government to fulfill our NDC target 2030 no more than 34% annually. So this is quite important, yeah. That's why the government established my institution. So Indonesia Environment Fund was established since 2019, and we have a big mandate, yeah, to support and to increase the financial capacity to support the government to achieve NDC target 2030. And our role, like Ibu Normasi Patin already mentioned, a very crucial role, because if we reverse from our regulation, Presidential Regulation number 77 2018, Indonesia Environment Fund could be mobilized, could be planned, could be tapping many resource financing from the government, both from the state government as well as from the local government. We can also tapping money from philanthropy. We can tapping money and maximize a benefit from a private company and also from the international. And if we look from yesterday presentation, our current modality, our current portfolio, almost 1.5 billion USD, and we have been managed, my friend, Pa Andreas from Norway. We have been managed Norway fund, the first result-based payment for FOLU NetSink 2030, 56 million USD. And we also manage several result-based payment under the forest area, under the forest sector, from the Green Climate Fund, from World Bank, and also other MDBs. And this is quite challenge for us when we now are still on the final exam, final discussion, final test, final requirement to get approval from the government committee, government investment committee, to get the license as a government investment operator. After we get the approval, after we have our license as a government operator government investment operator, we can produce and develop several innovative financial schemes, like creating green bond, green suko, SDG bond, or other innovative financial scheme. So this is our challenge first. We already passed the requirement. We now are still waiting the official letter from the minister. And secondly, at the same time now, we also still under examen from the Green Climate Fund to become a direct AA, direct accredited entity for GCF. We already managed a big fund from GCF, but now we are still a final review from the GCF itself to become a direct accredited entity. But GCF itself released a new scheme, new program. They call it PSSA. PSSA is a project-specific assessment approach. So this is like one suit AA. And BPDLH already appointed as a one suit AA to manage some big money delivered to BRGM, and BPDLH will manage almost 38 million USD. This is delivered directly to BRGM. And to respond the second question for Ibu Norma Sripatin, are there any innovative financial scheme that BPDLH can produce? Of course, like I mentioned before, after we got the final proposal, the final approval from the Government Investment Committee, after we got the license, of course we can produce, we can develop, we can create several innovative financial schemes, like I mentioned before. Together with the World Bank now, we are doing together to submit some proposal to Jeff, creating what we call coral bond. So this is also a very interesting if we look from experience, because besides introduce innovative financial scheme from the internal BPDLH itself, we have three different financial instruments. We have a financial instrument for grant, we have financial instrument for investment, and we have financial instrument for endowment fund. So this is quite interesting. Like I mentioned before, after we get the license, we can blend it from the internal BPDLH itself, from the internal Indonesia Environmental itself. We can blend our financial modality from grant, from investment, from endowment fund, At the same time, we can also produce several innovative financial schemes for the external, like producing or issuing green bond, green suku, deliver some de-risking facility, government guarantee, as well as issuing like a coral bond or other thematic bond. So this is my explanation, Bu Nur.
Thank you, Pak Joko. Colleague, ladies and gentlemen, IEF is actually like a baby, still very young, under 5 years age. We are happy that the agency progressing very well, quite fast, and the trust from donors continuously increasing. This is also something that we are happy to have that progress to date on the Environment Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard about the action and then the financial aspect. The last panelist will be talking about the international aspect. We know that climate change is a global challenges. Collaboration is very important in a various form. We have our partner, our long-term partner, Norway. We know Norway is one of the main contributors in financing mitigation action in FOLU sector. Norway also so far our long-term partner in supporting mitigation action in FOLU sector. My first question to Pak Andreas. In your perspective, what role does international cooperation play in achieving global climate goals? And how can countries like Norway and Indonesia further strengthen our collaboration in addressing climate change challenge? Particularly what we are talking now is in FOLU sector. Secondly, from the lesson learned that Norway and Indonesia have, including now Norway is channeling the funding, the contribution through environmental fund. What will be the form of our collaboration in the future to strengthen both the cooperation and also our collective contribution to the global efforts? So that's Pak Andreas, 5 minutes for you.
Thank you so much, Ibu Nur, and dear colleagues and friends. I'm really honored to be here today with such a distinguished set of panelists, and as you've heard, all coming to the table with very, very important plans and skills that the world needs to see more of. So I would like to start out by really emphasizing the global significance of what Indonesia has achieved already. And secondly, the significance of what Indonesia is putting forward with the FOLU NetSink 2030 plan. Indonesia has delivered one of the largest climate mitigation results in the world over the last several years. And it's not known as much as it should be. And I think the world should really recognize the significance of what Indonesia has done. And it's not an accident, it happened. It took a very concerted set of policies to protect forests with the permanent moratorium on forest and peatlands, to manage forests sustainably, to enforce regulatory enforcement of its regulations, collaboration with the producing sectors to enable increased productivity rather than encroachment on forest and peatlands. The social forestry program that has allowed communities to protect forest and improve their livelihoods of more than 6 million hectares. This is a very comprehensive set of policies, and it has yielded hugely successful results. So congratulations. I would also like to commend you for the seriousness of this plan, of the FOLU NetSink 2030. We're at the Global Climate Conference, where a lot of pledges are made. But there's a difference between ambitious goals and ambitious goals that are backed by very comprehensive sets of plans. And Pak Rwanda was talking about these operational manuals and going in deeper into both the sectors and the regions to protect forests, to manage forests, to restore forests and peatlands and mangroves. This is a credible plan, and it's a hugely ambitious plan that the world should support. And to the point of the enhanced NDC, I really think the global community should come together to do everything it can to enable that vision to become reality. I think there's a wide recognition, increasing recognition here at COP that we will not meet the Paris targets without a very significant reduction in global deforestation and restoration of forests. And we will not meet the goals of the nature agreement unless we meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. So nature is now at the core of the discussion, and forests are at the core of the discussion, both in the climate and nature conventions. And Indonesia is a green superpower contributing to both. I'd also like to point out, when it comes to international collaboration, and to Ibu Nur's question on collaboration, Pak Joko outlined the significant progress that the Indonesian Environment Fund has made to be able to receive significant international support and to be able to provide an increasingly sophisticated set of financial tools to support the FOLU NetSink operational plan. And that is very important. I think we are seeing a growing interest from both public and private financiers to consider a combination of different ways of providing finance. We, as the Norway's International Climate and Forest Initiative, have also engaged in different types of finance, although our budget is grant funding. We have now, over 15 years, provided $5 billion for forest protection cumulatively, and we have a mandate to continue to do so at least through 2030. We are very proud of the partnership we have with Indonesia, where we made the first results-based contribution last year, as Pak Joko was saying, and we look forward to the next ones. And we also hope to engage with other countries and investors and financiers to tell the story that you have told today and retell the story. And to make sure that everyone recognizes the leadership that you have done and have shown and are showing in the years to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pa Andreas. Thank you also for re-emphasizing the important role of forest and land use in achieving Paris Agreement goal. We cannot achieve Paris Agreement goal without forest and land use, or in a broader scope without nature. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have still remaining time that we could pick up one question from the floor. If there is any question or comment from the floor, we would, yes, please. But this, we cannot choose.
Thank you very much. It was such an inspirational panel. My question is with regards to, for example, mangrove trees, and then selling carbon credit, maybe in Indonesia or outside of Indonesia. And yesterday, at one of the last sessions yesterday at this pavilion, people were talking about how expensive perhaps planting mangroves are, and then how low the prices of carbon if you sell in the market. I think the presentation was saying $5 per ton. But I think there are people in international field that are willing to purchase at a much higher price point. Let's say $40 per ton, for example. How is Indonesia searching for people who are, or how is Indonesia approaching people who are willing to buy at a much higher price point, which I think benefits Indonesia quite significantly? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a very good question. I would like to invite Pak Rwanda and Pak Wahyu to share this short time to respond to the question. Pak Rwanda and Pak Wahyu.
Well, thank you very much for the very good question regarding the carbon pricing in mangrove. Yes, Indonesia have a lot of investment in the mangrove sector. And then we develop and establish regulation. Maybe you understand regarding the presidential regulation number 98, and also implementation regulation in the carbon pricing in as an umbrella. So it means using this regulation, actually we try to shift the approachment of the low price to the higher price system by regulation, and then shifting the situation from the voluntary approachment to regulated system. So it means the high integrity we maintain in the price. So by pushing from the voluntary approachment to the regulation, the regulated system, it means we can enhance and increasing the price and increasing the integrity of the carbon credit sale in Indonesia. Yes.
Yes. I add some information. So we have in Indonesia about 3.4 million hectares of mangrove, and almost 85% in the good conditions. Yes. And some apart, now we have program from the agency of the mangrove and peatland restoration. They have to make a restoration about 600 hectare, 600,000 hectares. So from that area, yeah, there is area that include on the NDC mitigation action, and there are also the area that outside of the NDC. And the area that not included on NDC, we can go to market, to the carbon market. So there's still many possibility how the people can access the mangrove with the high cost, high price. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Wahyu and Pak Rwanda. We have 3 minutes, but I would like to share with Pak Joko and Pak Andreas. Pak Joko, because you will have mandate to manage the revenue from the carbon market. So please 1 minute to respond also, and then Pak Andreas from international perspective. Please, Pak Joko.
Thank you. From the technical aspect, of course, we rely on the Ministry of Environment. But this is just from the financial perspective, yeah. First, we must increase the quality of carbon itself. Perhaps we can create a full carbon quality like mangrove carbon, including high conservation value, etc. And the second one, perhaps government must be setting the ecosystem. After we can establish the ecosystem, perhaps we can increase at the same time the supply carbon from the mangrove itself and also demand for the carbon mangrove. And the third, the government perhaps can also create a new activity that will be required a demand for mangrove carbon. So this is just like a government push to create new activity, and then this activity will require the carbon from the mangrove. So this is just from the financial perspective, I think.
Thank you. I think this is a very important question. I think there is a lot of interest out there in the private sector for engaging in carbon markets and including from forests. There's been a big debate this year about the different the standards and projects and so on. I think there's a bit of a break to reflect in many countries for considering how to engage in this market. And I think my understanding is Indonesia is considering its own regulations and thinking holistically with how they will regulate that market and whether and how to engage in that opportunity. And I think that's something we fully support and respect. And I think other countries are going through a similar process right now. I think the market is looking for quality, and I think to your question of price, I think that will be something that's the risks and quality are something that private investors will look at. And I'm at least very confident on our engagement with Indonesia that what we are paying for or contributing to are very robust results. So I'll leave it at that. And yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pa Andreas. I think we managed our time quite well. Thank you very much to all panelists. Thank you for all participants. And we close our session this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu Nur, for managing to finish on time and leading an engaging discussion. So before we leave and doing what we have to do next, why don't we have a mandatory photo documentation? So if all speakers can come together, and do you mind if we have just a quick picture? Is it okay? Okay, so just make it quick for all the photographer. Okay. We ready? Yeah, that's one of the souvenir. It's made of not from plastic for sure. Okay. Pak Dirjen. Oh, Pak Dirjen, Pak Asir, sorry. We missed one more person. Pak Dirjen, please join. I apologize for my mistake. Okay, one more picture. So we have a full family picture here. Thank you very much for your precious time. Thank you for staying with us. For all the attendees, thank you for your active participation. Once again, we would like to invite everybody to please stay in the Indonesia Pavilion as we're going to continue with the next agenda, but we're going to have a short break for 10 minutes. So please be back here at 2:30 p.m. sharp. We're going to highlight or cover the topic on the unlocking the potential of nature-based solution for adaptation and mitigation of climate change. Enjoy your time in our pavilion. We'll see you again.